Hey everybody, welcome to the Great Lakes live stream on YouTube. I'm your host, Adam Biggers. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81, and you can follow Great Lakes Divide for Michigan and Michigan State coverage with my partner Ryan Schuling at GL Divide on Twitter and Facebook, and GreatLakesDivide.com. Obviously, we're working on getting iTunes up for the podcast, RSS subscriptions on the website, trying to get everything finalized. Some big news coming. There was already big news, I guess, in terms of when for me personally, when Ryan and I teamed up, and there's even bigger news now around the corner. So we're very excited, and we're also excited to welcome Keller Williams, FederalWilliams.com, realtor in the Lansing area, to the team as well. So going to recap Michigan availability yesterday. I'm going to field your questions and basically kind of focus on what was said yesterday. I've dubbed it Shea Day. It was the media debut of Shea Patterson with Michigan. So hashtag Shea Day. I made that up myself. I don't know if anyone else is using it. If they're not, that's okay. I like to laugh at my own jokes and make up my own things like that. Anyway, so if you want to use the hashtag Shea Day, please feel free, because I feel like it was kind of ceremonious in a way for the media. And I'll tell you this, it was the first time that I've ever seen, imagine, like a 3-point line. It was the first time Michigan SID Dave Abloff put a line of tape out there for an arc, because sometimes with all the TV cameras, and especially with like Harbaugh or a really high profile guy like for instance this time Shea Patterson, or like Rashawn Gary, people come out of the woodwork that aren't normally there. I mean, it's all these other media outlets that all of a sudden just show up. It's not like the core group that's there on a Friday night for post practice availability, or the people that are the people that are there day in day out. So anyway, they draw this line in the tape, and everybody's supposed to take position. I get there early, Angelique gets there early, Isaiah Hole, Josh Henschke, and we're all kind of standing by each other. And then all of a sudden, TV crews come in and kind of push their way to the front. Brad Galley was there, and he gets a pass. Brad contributes to the conversation. There was someone else, I'm not going to name, I don't even know who it was really rude and just kind of barged in and didn't even ask a question. So I ended up having to throw some elbows at Josh Henschke, my handheld that I use for these live streams right here. I'm kind of wiggling it. It's like a little tripod. It looks like a gun, actually, a gun handle. And so I'm standing behind Angelique, and I'm pretty sure that it snagged a few of her hairs, because I know for a fact it pulled out at least one. And then I think I also threw a forearm at Isaiah Hole. So all in good fun, of course, and Isaiah and Josh and Angelique and I were all joking about it on Twitter last night. So long story short, watch the Shea Patterson video, because I worked my ass off to get this. I was standing behind people, angling my arm, zooming it. I think at one point I had it probably a few feet away from Shea Patterson's face, and again I'm holding it like this. It's like pointed like a gun, so probably not the most comfortable thing for him, especially with all the cameras. So give me a second. I'm gonna tweet the live link, and we're gonna start. And again, yesterday was Michael Dwumfour, Shea Patterson. Excuse me, I'm forgetting who else. Hold on. I just shot these videos. Dwumfour, Shea, Ben Mason. If you don't like Ben, I tweeted this yesterday. If you don't like Ben Mason interviews, you are dead inside. Ben Mason, pure gold yesterday. Check that one out. And Cesar Ruiz too. And Cesar's always been really well spoken, handles us well, and he seemed like he's like sitting on a secret right now. He really likes the offensive line. He didn't want to, say too much in terms of, he was asking about the strengths and everything like that. It felt like he was like sitting on a secret. So give me a second, guys. I'm gonna hop in this chat. As soon as I tweet this live link. So. And I am using the Shea Day hashtag, because I feel like it. So, hold on here, I'm almost done. and I was asked why I chose to wear, why I would have a New York Mets hat. I will die before I wear a New York Yankees hat. I know the Mets are the worst team in baseball, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to go through all that. But I will die before I wear a New York Yankees hat. Mark my words. All right, so live chat. Alan Pinkney says, hold on, guys. Now it's blocking the live chat. Alan Pinkney says, Adam, how is offensive side as a whole? You want to be more specific? I mean, in terms of confidence, it's through the roof, Alan. You could tell by, I mean, with the defensive guys, it's always been there. I hate the word swagger. I feel like it's just so overused, but charisma, attitude, body language, the way that they look at you when they talk, direct eye contact, very confident. That's always been there with the defense. I'm sensing that now a lot with offensive players. And what I liked, I'll say something real quick about Shea Patterson. He seems very subdued. He is not, and this was from 15 minutes with him last night, but judging by what all the other players are saying, coaches, and then you stand in front of him, and you can tell he's not like the diva type of quarterback, the look at me kind of guy. Like I said, he seems very subdued, very relaxed. I mean, he looks like the kind of guy, if you bumped into him in public, you wouldn't think, hey, this guy's a star quarterback. This guy's been talked about Heisman preseason. You would not think that. He doesn't give off that, hey, look at me, I'm a star college football player vibe. He does not. So, and I think that, but he's ultra competitive. Don't get me wrong on that. He is very competitive. I'm sure that there's a cocky side to him, when he gets in his groove and he's competitive. But overall, he didn't come in there cocky. He didn't think the job was his. But he did say, when Angelique asked him if he knew that he'd always be the starter, he said, well, if you don't think that, then you're not going to be. So, I mean, he came here with the intent to win the job. And, a very competitive guy. So I think if you're a Michigan fan, you got to like, so far, at least what you saw in Shea Patterson from the interview. The rest will be said on the field. But watch this video interview. Like I said, I worked pretty hard to get this thing, so you guys better watch it. And I think you'll see what I'm talking about. So, Jeremy Turner said, just finished the lawn. Perfect. What's good, Adam? Jeremy, did you crisscross cut it? How do you do it? Do you go just horizontal lines? Do you go vertical lines? Sometimes I alternate, but the lines have to be there. And we just got some rain. I mowed my lawn like 4 or 5 days ago for the first time in 2 weeks because it was just so dry and nothing grew. Just a little bit, like kind of weeds. And I think I'm going to mow it today, actually. It needs to be, so. Sean DeBoer says, amen, F the Yanks. Simple Carl, SMPL Carl says, subscribe. Hey, thanks, Carl. Sean DeBoer wants to know Cesar. Cesar's going to be the starting center. It sounds like, just another guy who's more experienced. Cesar's always been, he's played since he was a freshman. Cesar's always been that kind of guy who was beyond his years. I never looked at him and said, wow, this kid's a freshman. He was joking last night. He's like, he's just turned 19, or he will be 19. I think he said he just turned 19. And he's starting to feel older. He came to Michigan as a 17-year-old. So I've always liked Cesar. I always thought that he was, mature, carried himself well. And I could tell that he's the intelligent kind of guy. Nick Baumgartner, the Free Press, asked him if, Cesar, if he's essentially kind of like the captain of the offensive line. Because Cesar was talking about how he was used to, basically directing traffic all through high school. He was the guy. And Nick asked him that question, and Cesar said, yeah, you could say that. Something along those lines. He agreed. So, Cesar is very important in terms of that. And Ben Bredesen. Cesar and Ben Bredesen are going to be, obviously the two main cogs of this offensive line. And whether we see John Runyon Jr. or Jawan Bushell-Beatty at either tackle spot, we'll figure that out. I think it's going to be either or at either or. So, Frank Lucas is Michigan favored versus Notre Dame. I haven't checked the line, Frank, lately. Last I knew, and someone asked me this question a couple days ago, it was Notre Dame by 3.5. But then someone also said that they saw odds that was Michigan by 3. and I would need to see that. Give me Michigan, Michigan by 3 on the road. I think Notre Dame by 3, 3.5. It's not going to be a bigger swing either way. Whoever wins, it's going to be a field goal game, a 3, 4 point game. I was talking 24-20, 2017, leaning toward Notre Dame. Next week, I'll give out my official prediction. Official, for what it's worth. I'll give out my on-the-record prediction. And because that was brought up by Four Masterfuls last week, he wanted to know if we were going to keep doing that. Because last year, he called it a tradition, so I'm glad that he enjoyed it. So last year we did that, and he joked that I was only like 65% accurate, but he took it back. I'm like 85 to 90. He said 80 to 85. I'm still saying 85, 90. But either way, we'll give out our predictions. And I think what we'll add this year, I don't like getting too far, like, what is this guy? It's impossible almost it's hard enough to predict, get scores on and kind of take an educated guess at how the game's going to be played. But it's almost impossible to say, okay, well, Grant Perry is going to have, 8 catches for 2 touchdowns and 140 yards, and he's going to have, 2 of those catches are going to be 30-yard plus. And I mean, based on past performances, you can kind of gauge on what guys are going to do against certain teams. But I mean, as far as just throwing out a stat line, I'm not going to be able to do that. I could probably guess, yeah, well, this guy's going to get, maybe like 18 carries. Someone asked me how many carries I think against Notre Dame, how many times Michigan will run the ball, stuff like that. So I'll do my best with those guesses. If I'm right, great. If I'm not, you guys let me know, and whoever's right, we'll acknowledge them. So let me catch up with all these questions and comments, guys. And again, happy Friday. Thanks for joining me. If you're new to the show, basically it's a freestyle. We talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Sometimes I set the topics, and then you can ask questions. So I do want to set the topics today before I get in these comments if you watch my videos, of course, because I need you to do that. But we'll talk about Shea Patterson, talk about Michael Dwumfour, we'll talk about Cesar Ruiz, and we'll talk about Ben Mason, who is probably running a close second to Chase Winovich when it comes to giving the best interview during availability. So, all right, DeMario Vaughn says Shea was actually a really good interview. Yeah, he was, DeMario. I thought he was. Alan Pickney says, will you be at open practice? Probably not, because here's the thing. You can't take anything in there. They're not allowing any professional. There's no special treatment for media, basically. So it's open for fans on Sunday, 6 to 7 at Michigan Stadium, obviously. Free. There'll be family stuff and, all that afterward. No player autographs or photos that I'm aware of, but I think there's other family-related things set up. But basically, if I were gonna go, Alan, it'd be like, hey, I'm gonna call you, Alan, and see if I can go with you because we're gonna have the same access. So I'm probably not gonna go because to me it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I'll already be there Monday. I'll be at the Notre Dame game. I mean, it's gonna be a demo for fans. I'm not really too sure if me going what I'll be able to take away from that. So now if there was special access and they were going to feed us, we could be in the press box, then yes, I would definitely go because Michigan always feeds us very well. And you guys know that I love food. So I hope that answers your question. Eric313 says, I heard running at left tackle and Mayfield at right. Where'd you hear that, Eric? SMPL Carl says, hey, Carl, what does SMPL mean? Let me know. I think that will rub off for future years at confidence and quarterback. I feel Milton is really taking advantage of having Shea as a mentor. And on a side note, I know a lot of fans and media freaked out. He was drafted by the Texas Rangers. Is he going to be a one-year rental and, go pursue a college, or not a college, but a professional baseball career? College football is where his heart's at. Now, I wrote an article on GreatLakesDivide.com. He doesn't want to be a one and done. And basically what I mean by that is that he's not, you don't have to worry about the Texas Rangers thing. He wants to take the full advantage of his college eligibility and whether he's at Michigan for 1 year, say he has a great year this year and is getting some looks and wants to enter the draft, or if he wants to finish both of his years at Michigan, that's what his focus is. Baseball is not even in the picture. So, Drew 48 says, how much do you expect to be shown to the public in practice Saturday? I have a feeling it will be extremely basic. Yes, Drew. Very. Jeremy Turner says, alternate, I'm obsessed with my lawn. Yeah, alternate lines. Lots of rain in Florida keeps me busy. Tweet me a picture, Jeremy. They were talking about this on the Harbaugh podcast, the Attack Each Day podcast. They said mowing lawn is like a way to establish work ethic and appreciate a job well done. And I've always believed that. The Harbaughs believe it, Jeremy. So I think great minds think alike, right? I think if you enjoy mowing your lawn and you want to you don't have to, go overboard and put flamingos and all that stuff in it. I don't do that. But, I played baseball and I appreciate a good infield. I like a nice field. So, and we have, the nicest one in the area up at Mott College. So, and I love mowing the infield there. So I have a small yard. I live in the city, but I do try to keep it lined, front and back. So anyway, it's like if you take pride in mowing your lawn, I think that's a sign that you're like a hard worker. So nice job, Jeremy. Tweet me a photo at AdamBiggers81. It's in Florida. It's probably a lot nicer than mine. Mike Zabrowski says, sorry, I've missed the shows lately. Work has been weird. Lately, we are going to have an elite offense. I just have that feeling. Thanks for joining, Mike. Who's at work right now? I appreciate you taking time and being a slacker and costing your company money by being unproductive and watching my live stream. Tip my cap to all of you. Thank you. And does 11 o'clock, I was shooting maybe for noon on Friday. That's usually how I've done it, but I like 11 as well. Let me, everybody who's in here, regular, if you can, comment with a time, what works best for everybody. Friday mornings are open for me. I want to make sure that as many people as possible can watch it live. So let me know by commenting with a time. Sean DeBoer says, slacking. Iron Cross says, Notre Dame wearing those Yankee unis. I sure hope not. Those are ugly as sin. Jeremy Turner says, Adam, are you going to take part in the Patreon? Do what we can to help the show. Patreon, Jeremy. No, I did a GoFundMe thing during the winter time, and I didn't even want to do that. I felt like guilty asking for money. So I mean, if you guys do want to contribute to the show, I really appreciate it. We can explore a way how to do that. And but yeah, I felt kind of like bummy setting up a GoFundMe in the winter time, and it was actually suggested by someone suggested it. Because if you guys remember, I had to take a break and I was doing another, I had another job, desk job, office job. I hated it. I was rotting away at a desk. It was the worst time of my life, and all I could think about was writing about sports and talking about sports. So at that time, I was like, well, I want to keep the podcast going, but how do I do it? I have to work and dedicating so much time and travel and stuff like that. It just wasn't gonna work out. So I set up a GoFundMe, and thanks if you guys people did donate a little bit. So thank you. I appreciate that. But again, I felt like really bummy asking for that. I think Patreon though is like a little higher class when it comes to begging for money, right? It's Patreon. It's not GoFundMe. GoFundMe says, please help me. I need your money right now. Or, if it's not like a good cause, mine was just, hey, support my podcast. There's actually people who are like, help me with surgery, help me with, something major in life. I'm like, hey, please give me money for my podcast. SMPL Carl says, Simple Carl is shorter or more unique. My videography company. Okay, that's what I thought it was. I like it. I can dig the no vowels, Simple Carl. Jeremy Turner says you got to take advantage of the super chats, man. Sherwoody14 says Patreon seems to be the more long-term way to go. Get $5 a month or whatever. If you guys want to, I mean, I'm not going to charge you. But if you guys want, I do the live streams for free anyway. And now it's part of Great Lakes Divide. And like I said, there's more things that are around the corner. Really excited to announce, we're going to be working with some really great people and doing things to bring you guys all kinds of content, Michigan and Michigan State. You guys watch this for the Michigan content, but Ryan Schuling does an excellent job with Michigan State. And I want to encourage you guys, if you guys haven't, Sean M. Campbell is a Michigan State grad. He's a lawyer. He's written some scathing blog posts of the way Paul Levine has handled the outside the lines reporting at Michigan State. If you're interested in just good journalism, great interview. Ryan does an excellent job with Sean, and you know, getting his side and why he thinks Paula Levine's unethical. And Ryan presents sides to prove that Paula Levine is not unethical. I mean, it's point, counterpoint. It's a great conversation. I encourage you guys to check that out, GreatLakesDivide.com. And follow Ryan Schuling, at Ryan Schuling, and that's Shuiling. Simple Carl says, do you think any of the freshmen running back will get any reps? I think Turner will be a great addition for the few. Yeah, Christian's in there like 3-4. True Wilson, Christian Wilson, or Christian Turner rather. Those are the guys that are going to be after Karan and Chris Evans, which are a 1-1 punch. You know, there's not like one, obviously, because we have to count 1-2. One of them's one. One of them's going to be one day. They're not calling it a 1-2 punch. Jay Harbaugh called it a 1-1 punch. And it's going to be, you know, True Wilson or Christian Turner. And Christian Turner, very elusive, great cutting ability. And speaking of cut and changing of direction, that's something that Ben Mason said that he improved most on. He thinks he's a complete player. I wrote about that on GreatLakesDivide.com. I tweeted it out at AdamBiggers81 and at GLDivide. And it's on our Facebook page at GLDivide as well. And that's going to be huge for Michigan. Have a fullback that's a legit weapon. We saw the way that Khalid Hill was in 2016. He had like, I forgot how many carries. He had 13 touchdowns on 73 career carries. And I think in 2016 he had like 54 carries, something like that. He averaged a touchdown like every 5 carries. It was ridiculous. You want to talk about efficient numbers. So with Ben Mason's ability, he can run, block, catch, he could do everything. I think Ben's going to serve as a similar weapon, maybe a little bit quicker and more athletic. I mean, Khalid Hill was deceptively quick for his size. You wouldn't think a big fullback running around number 80 is going to have such soft hands and be able to, navigate along the sidelines like he did. I think Ben Mason is, I won't say that he's underrated, but people look at him more as a power guy. I think he is a power guy, but I also think that he's added some finesse. And I think with his, he addressed his ability to cut and change direction a lot more. And to me, that says, that speaks more to the finesse side of the game rather than the power game. So I think you're going to get a good blend of both. And I think Ben Mason's going to be a hell of a fullback for the Wolverines this year. Jim Harbaugh said last year that Ben Mason was like the prototypical fullback. So watch that interview. And again, he talks about his faux hawk. Been getting that haircut since he was 6 years old. Great line of questioning from Angelique. And what else did he talk about? I asked him about changes in off-season, changes in diet. Is he still the strongest guy on the team? He wouldn't admit it, but I have a feeling that he probably is. And again, he's another guy that you could see visibly bigger up top. And I don't really know what else to say. I mean, September 1st can't come fast enough. I can't wait. Michigan at Notre Dame. Ryan Schuling and I will be there, and this might be the best opener of college football this season. So, Alan Pinkney says, heard that Turner got hurt. I heard some whisper. I can't confirm, but again, like, what's the severity of it? And like I said, I've always thought True Wilson was ahead for that number 3 spot over Christian Turner. That was always the impression that I got, and based on the information that I have given. Mark Reed says Charbonnet goes to the head of the line next season. I don't know, Mark. Well, no, I don't know about that, Mark. Pump the brakes. He is good though. Michigan. I think. Let's face it, Michigan. I've been skeptical lately when it comes to really highly rated running backs at Michigan, and I think for good reason. The Derek Green thing, really, and it's only one, I guess. Derek Green, I'll cite him, but I mean, Karan was a 3-star, Chris Evans was a 4-star, but I think Christian Turner is going to be the next guy. Erwin Hurst Jr. Helping Hand says, "What's the big change we will appreciate with the O-line?" I mean, I don't know what it's specifically, other than they're just I mean, they're winning more battles against the defensive line. They've been tougher all year. That's been the theme through camp. Rashawn Gary said that early in camp. Uh, I just got done talking about Cesar Ruiz, and it seemed like, and I think is that what you're referencing? It seems like he's sitting on a surprise, like, and I don't know what it is, but he's got that twinkle in his eye. He's got the big smile, like he knows something that everybody else doesn't know. And you get the you'll sees and kind of that, you know, looking away from the question with a smile at the end of it. And, a lot of it's about body language. Some of it's not always what they say or how they say it, it's their body language while they say it. Mr. Johnson, Grady, biggest bust. Calvin, he was a 40 star. No, he was a 5-star. Mark Reed said, well, we disagree again. Yes, Mark, we do. Corey Smith says, can Ben catch the ball? Yes. TJ Bellware says, Christian Turner took a picture of a cast on his leg with a sad emoji on Snapchat. Do you know anything about... Oh, I did not see that. Okay, well, like I said, I always thought it was True Wilson anyway, so if he's got a cast on... I don't follow these guys on Snapchat. I feel like I got to draw the line. I follow a lot of them on Instagram. I follow as many as I can on Twitter. But I feel like Snapchat, that's like if you're friends with somebody. So, and I'm not friends with them. So I draw the line at Snapchat. For me. That's my personal line. Oh yeah, and Kareem. Yeah, how did I forget? Yeah, Kareem Walker. I know. I was like, man, there's two. Why can I only think Derek Green? Yes, Kareem Walker came in. Highly rated running back. Cody Peischer. Cody, how you doing? Speaking for Joe Beauchamp, how much of a factor... Oh, first I was thinking Joe Skinner for a second. I'm like, really, Joe Skinner? Joe Beauchamp. Hey, Joe, how you doing? How much of a factor is Furbush getting into the mix at linebacker? Major factor. I mean, Noah's a guy who gets overlooked, right? And it's because he's not playing. His hair, he's wearing a man bun, which is the number, I didn't rank it, but it's going to be the number 3 hairstyle of Michigan's camp. Number 4, Chase Winovich, like the, kind of, like someone described it as Asgardian, but we're used to that. The Alabama waterfall with Devin Bush, shaved on top and like this dread mullet in the back, and then Ben Mason's faux hawk. Those are the defining hairstyles. Noah Furbush's man bush, he stands out that way. He stands out with the way that he plays, but I mean, he's not like a big talker. Cody, I don't know if you've watched the interview, but like I said, I feel like he's a guy who's always overlooked because he's not, the flashiest player. But he just gets jobs done, basically. So he's going to be a major factor in there. Noah Furbush, Devin Bush, Devin Gill. I think you'll see... trying to think of who else you're going to see in there at the linebacker spot. I think at some point, maybe, Josh Ross for certain, but I think Drew Singleton and Jordan Anthony were also mentioned. They'll probably be, special teams guys and maybe get in late in games and stuff. But in terms of like your Noah Devin, Bush, and Devin Gill, I think are going to be the top 3. Sean DeBoer, what do you think of Urban Meyer 3-game suspension? Well, I do want to focus. I'll say this: I think slap on the wrist. If it was at another school, he would not have a job, and I don't see how the evidence that I've seen and all the reports about deleted text messages and maybe his judgment was clouded. How come he's getting a pat? Maybe his judgment's clouded. Urban Meyer was described as a manipulative, like he's a psych major. If you guys watch that video about what all the stuff that happened at Florida, this guy has been described as like one of the most manipulative people that these players have ever, that the former Florida players had ever been around. And for Urban to get a pass on this, judge, they're looking at his clouded judgment, his relationship with Earl Bruce. Give me a break. He knew 3 games. I'm going to leave it at this. If it was another school or if he wasn't winning, he'd be gone. I think it's a joke. I figured the longer the investigation went, he was going to retain his job. At first, I thought there was probably no way that he could survive this given all the evidence. And then you look at all the other stuff that was piled on. Zach Smith, you know, ordering sex toys and all kinds of stuff and shooting, pornographic videos and nude photos and things like that at Ohio State football facility. And you're telling me that you don't. Urban Meyer knew. I don't care what anybody says, and this was a slap on the wrist. I think it's a joke of a suspension. And what kind of example does it set? And a lot of people have made this comment. I mean, the guys lost their job, and players were publicly just, I don't even know what the right word for it is, just ridiculed beyond belief because they traded some team memorabilia for some tattoos. And here we are. This guy, the coach Urban Meyer, gets a 3-game suspension, and he knew that this guy had a track record. It wasn't just a one allegation, because a lot of people get accused and things like that, and you can't necessarily hold that against them. It wasn't just one allegation, and it found out it's false. We've seen that happen, with sexual assault and domestic violence cases against other players and just in general. But this guy's got a track record. It's happened more than once. And it dates back a decade. So that's all I'm gonna say. I think it's a joke. Simple Carl says, I feel Kareem and Green had similar playing styles, not breakaway speed power backs. But when you're not moving up front, it's not very effective. I like elusive backs in college football. Chris Karan are definitely elusive. I thought that Kareem had some potential. The offensive line. Well, things just didn't work out for Kareem in general, but I think Michigan's offensive line, too. I mean, if you're not that elusive type of back who can create, you weren't really going to do much because that offensive line was struggling, especially the right side. Corey Smith said, is Michael O going to start? Is he still overweight? Mike Onwenu, he is the right guard. Tim Beck says, probably shouldn't say man bush. Laughing. Isn't that what they're called? No, I said man bun. Oh, probably shouldn't say man bush. No, I call it man bun. Man bun. Mark Reed, Quiddy Pay. Yes, Quiddy. Mark Reed, should the NCAA step in at Ohio State? Mark, I saw your comment on Twitter. Let's reserve that because Ryan and I have kind of been doing some digging and doing a lot of reading and stuff. We want to dedicate a segment to the Ohio State thing on the podcast. So tune in for that. We're kind of saving that right now. Colin Bell says, do you think that this team is better or worse than 2016? I tend to think it's better and that the 2016 was top 5 in the country but had some tough breaks. Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a playoff contending team. 3 losses by like 5 points, 6 points. I'd have to go back and look. I mean, inches away. I mean, you look at the Iowa game, look at the Ohio State game. That was a playoff team. That was a very good Michigan team that played a hell of a game against Florida State rather, in the Orange Bowl. So, do I think it's better than the 2016 team? I don't know, because I mean we're talking 2016 team at Jabril Peppers, Jordan Lewis. I mean, pretty good quarterback in Wilton Spate. Right side of the offensive line was not really a question. I mean, Mason Cole on the left side, that wasn't a question at all. But with Kyle Kalis and Eric Magnuson on the right side, that 2016 team, I think it was a perfect storm. The schedule was right. In terms of talent, this year's team definitely stacks up. But I mean, we're looking at All-Americans on that. Jake Butt. I mean, Amara Darbo and J.U. Chesson. I mean, that 2016 team was absolutely loaded. So, and all those guys I just mentioned are playing in the NFL, with the exception of Wilton Spate, who's at UCLA as a graduate transfer. But I don't know. I want to, talent-wise, potential-wise, I think, yes, 2018 team stacks up well against it. But that 2016 team was pretty good. Corey Smith, can Shea stay in the pocket and read defenses? Well, he was forced to do a lot because Ole Miss's offensive line was not that good. So I don't know exactly what he's like as a pocket passer. I get questions like this a lot. I mean, I can give you the yes. All I can give you is a maybe. here's why it could happen, and here's why it couldn't happen. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to give you an answer to something that I don't know. He had to make a lot of plays happen on himself. You know, he had to use his legs a lot. I imagine if he has the time and the protection that he could. I mean, he's got an arm that a Major League Baseball level arm for certain. He's got a cannon. But has he necessarily had the opportunity to sit back and be a pocket passer? Not at Ole Miss, he didn't. The Big Brother says this team has potential to be far better. Erwin Hurst Jr. Helping Hand says he agrees with Big Brother. The Big Brother says 2016 Spate cost us 3 losses. I disagree. And Shea will be better than him because he can run. No, Wilton Spate didn't cost Michigan three losses. Cody Peister says Dexter Williams playing for Notre Dame next week. Week 1. Is that a question? I thought that wasn't he suspended, Cody? I'm going to Google that real quick. I thought I suspended. Hold on here. He'll be on the roster, according to uhnd.com. Which writes that is really neither a confirmation or a denial of a suspension. Now, it is important to note here that Kelly legally cannot comment on any disciplinary action due to privacy laws, so perhaps his answers were merely him doing his best to skirt the topic without breaking laws or lying to the media. So, Brian Kelly said this. He's about Dexter Williams. He's going to be, on our roster. We'll see who ends up playing against Michigan, but he's on our football team, and I'm really proud of what he's accomplished in the summer. Hopefully that answers your question, Cody. Simple Carl says, I think Shea's struggle was knowing the defense wasn't performing. He felt he had to put up points to win games, which made him play much more risky. And Simple Carl, that's a good point too, because I have pointed out his interception numbers in the past, and a lot of that you have to look at the play. Was it his fault? Not every interception is a quarterback's fault. Corey Smith, have the running backs improve their blocking? According to what they're telling us, yes. TJ Bellware says Notre Dame sites say Dexter Williams is unofficially suspended for 4 games. That's what I thought, TJ. But again, I just read off uhnd.com. Brian Kelly said, and this was earlier in August, that he'd be on the roster. So Mark Reed says Shea's a junior now in a better system with better talent, the perfect storm of talent opportunity. Michigan is going to light it up at 2018 from day one. That Notre Dame game will be a statement game. I do agree with you, Mark, on this, that look at Shea's experience and look what he has around him. Maybe this is the perfect storm for Shea Patterson. And if anything, maybe last night I just got done saying how he was subdued and, very... just down to earth, seeming regular guy. Maybe that was the calm before the storm. We're getting poetic. We're getting poetic today. Poetic Fridays. Mark, are you gonna do some spoken word for us on Shea Patterson? Give us a little something. Little beatnik action. Spoken word on Shea will light it up against Notre Dame on September 1st. That was my best. I sounded more like Flo from the Progressive commercials. Who's going to be returning kicks? I got to believe it's Donovan Peoples-Jones or Ambry Thomas. punt, kick. I don't know which one yet, but it's going to be one of those two. I remember last year they were considering Khalid Hudson. There were a lot of people that were in line for that. If you guys remember during camp, that was kind of a topic. You know, who's going to be return guys. And Khalid, I mean, they basically were auditioning a bunch of people. So I'm not saying that Khalid's an option this year. I want to see him return a kick just because I want to see that. But Donovan Peoples-Jones and Ambry Thomas are definitely my two top guesses. And watch out for Ambry. Jalen Kelly-Powell in the secondary too, Brandon Watson. This is a pretty deep secondary. You know, you can talk about David Long, or you can talk about Lavert Hill, Tyree Kinnell, and Josh Metellus. But, you know, there's a few other guys, Brad Hawkins behind them as well. They're deep safeties, got some good up and comers at cornerback. I really like Ambry Thomas. The big brother says Ambry Thomas wasn't that good at returning, in my opinion. Hi, Adam, just made it. How much did I miss? Angelina Campos asked. Angelina, I'm getting ready to... We're already on 41 minutes. If you have a couple questions, go ahead and fire them away, and I'll read yours off. Because everybody else in here has already said a bunch and submitted a million questions. If I miss them, guys, I'm sorry. Simple Carl says, Notre Dame's being overlooked. As a Michigan fan, I see this is the best team we face. They've lost great blockers, but they return a lot of players. This is a team that competed well with Georgia last year. You think, Simple Carl, you think this is the best team Michigan will face on its schedule? And this is a pretty tough schedule. Notre Dame with the number 6 strength of schedule. I don't know if Notre Dame's going to be the best team they face this year, but I mean it's a hell of a way to open the season. I'll say that. And as far as a statement game, I've seen that mentioned. This can be a statement game, absolutely. TJ Bellware says, did you know Devin Bush had 3 punt return touchdowns in high school? What an athlete. I was not aware of that, TJ. Thank you. TJ coming through with the did you know on a Friday. Mark Reed said, agree that the tight ends are going to be a huge part of the offense. When asked about his weapons, Shea rattled off all the tight ends right off the bat. Yep, he knows. And guys, I've been saying this, right? Watch out. Sean McCune, Zach Gentry, they're going to be a big part of the offense. This is why I'm excited to see the tight ends. Because I thought with Shea, there's going to be some run and dump, some little slants, shallows. I can't wait. If you want to see some good football, I think Michigan's offense this year, based on what I'm hearing, I mean, it's just good. It's going to be a lot more efficient, and it's not. I'm not going to say. I mean, it's going to definitely be pro style based, but they've added some wrinkles, and that's what I'm excited to see. I think with Shea Patterson, so maybe there's a little bit of spread elements, some shotgun stuff, and Shea rolling out, dumping off to Gentry, McCune. That's going to be a common theme. Angelina Campos says, haven't heard that much about Donovan Jeter. Where's he at on the 2 deep? I don't know if he's on the 2 deep, Angelica. Corey Smith says, Grant Perry burning our safeties in practice. Shea Patterson said Grant Perry's had a really good camp and looks really good. So I don't know if he's burning the safeties, but I could say that he's had a really good camp. I know that. 2 other guys who had really good camp, Nico Collins and Oliver Martin. Tariq Black, Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think, are still the top 2 guys. Oliver and Nico certainly played as well as anybody did during camp. But I think when push comes to shove, it's going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tariq Black, Grant Perry. Those are the receivers we're going to see the most. Mark Reed said, and thank you for your part in the player availability. You ask excellent questions. Thanks, Mark. Someone commented they didn't like the question I asked Grant Newsome when I asked him if he had any resentment toward Jim Harbaugh. They said that was a horrible question, but if you listen to to Harbaugh on the Attack Each Day podcast, he was saying it was the worst, and I'm not directly quoting him here, this is paraphrasing. He said it was the worst coaching decision he ever made, giving players the option to wear knee braces. And basically, he wishes he would have made Grant Newsome wear a knee brace, and he doesn't feel that the injury would have been severe. So there's definitely, if it's not guilt, it's certainly remorse, and he feels horrible about it. And he was talking about it in front of Grant Newsome. And I would I thought it was a fair question. If someone said, hey, if I would have done this, this probably wouldn't have happened to you. Well, part of you thinking, well, why in the hell didn't you do that? You know? And that's resentment. But Grant Newsom doesn't have any of that. So I thought it was a fair question. So whoever commented on that, that's the context it was in. Listen to the podcast. I thought it was a fair question. If you didn't like it, I don't care. Is basically the way I feel. I try, and sometimes I do ask long questions, and sometimes my ADHD gets my mind running. I'm thinking faster than I can talk sometimes, but I try to ask, enough questions and different type of questions, so that way I have stuff to talk about and write about that I got, rather than just sit there with a recorder and then write off what everybody else is asking, because I think that's not doing your job. Anyway, better question than asking about chicken. Angelica Campos says, "Great Grant Newsom, great character guy." Absolutely. Sean DeBoer said that podcast episode was awesome. Yeah, you're talking about the Attack Each Day. I thought it was a good podcast. TJ Bellware said, "I think it's a pretty fair question, but I can see why someone would have an issue with it." But why? Why would you have an issue with it if it's fair? Red, Nico Collins, and Oliver Martin are sneaking up the depth chart like Joe Skinner's $4.50 chili. You want to try some chili? Tell me how it tastes. It's got venison, sausage, all kinds of stuff. You like it? All right, great. Hey, before we go, you got to pay me for that. Little inside joke. Cody and I, some of the Flint City Baseball League, several stories you will get by being involved with the Flint City Baseball League and being offered to try chili, accepting it, only to be told after you're done eating it that you owed $4.50 for it. Here I thought it was a sample. I was wrong. Mark Reed says, hearing DPJ might be running from the slot with Black and Collins outside. Angelica Campos says Oliver changed his number, I think. Let's double check that for you. Because what, wasn't he wearing 82, I thought? He's also wearing number 2. So he's probably, changed it. Because you can't have two players. They could share numbers, but they can't be on the field at the same time. And I don't think you can have duplicates on offense. You can have one offense and on defense. But you can't. Yeah, so Shea wearing number 2, Oliver Martin wearing number 2. What did he used to wear? I don't even remember. But yeah, he's going to have to change that. And speaking of number 2, I think it was Nick Baumgartner, the Free Press, asked about what Charles Woodson, I think it was Nick. If not, it was someone that was standing over to my right, and it sounded like Nick, asked about Charles Woodson and the number 2, and actually Shea talked to Charles, and Charles said, hey, if you're going to wear it, basically, wear it with pride and know why you're wearing it. So Shea understands. I kind of had a little bit of a gripe when Michigan had the legacy jerseys, because I think that they were just kind of thrown out there as a, good old Michigan football, bring up the history, because they were struggling, right? And this was just a way to kind of rekindle the past. And I know, and I'm not saying all of them didn't. And I'm not going to name player names because I don't want to put these guys on blast because I don't think it was their fault. But they did not know the history behind those numbers. You could tell. They were given some information, and some of the guys maybe knew a little bit more than the others, but they did not know the full history behind those numbers. So I didn't like that because I didn't think that they were wearing them for the right reasons. I thought it was kind of more of a publicity thing, a ploy, kind of a, like I said, fire up the feelings of old traditional Michigan football, Michigan man kind of thing, and get you guys excited about it. And that's what I think. I don't think that they all knew the truth. So with Shea Patterson knowing the meaning behind number 2 and its significance at Michigan, and Shea's dad, Shea was saying that his dad actually had coached Charles. So I mean, this is a big deal for Shea. He knows the history behind it. Simple Carl says, I'm from Flint. I am. Cody Peicher says, same as Shea. Wish I thought would. What? Cody, come again? TJ Bellware. Oh, someone posted a new video. Excellent. Micah Bergstaller. Loved the Cesar Ruiz interview. Thanks, Micah. Angelica Campos. Adam, what's the other podcast you're on called, and where can I listen to it? It's Great Lakes Divide podcast. It's on greatlakesdivide.com. Brian and I have one episode that we've already done together. He's got a couple solo. We're working on getting it on iTunes. So I think before we really start doing a ton of them, we want to make sure we're having some issue with the coding on iTunes. So we're trying to work through that. And so I'll make sure I post a link. But Angelica, if you don't already, follow me on Twitter, like the Great Lakes Divide page on Facebook, follow Great Lakes Divide on Twitter, and always feel free to shoot us a question, and we'll let you know. But try to post, when we're gonna have podcasts, when we're gonna have live streams, that kind of thing. And she says, "Okay, will do." I over-explained. I'm sorry. Parth Patel says, "Why does James Yoder say he's the main Michigan insider when he's even there on campus?" That's a great question, Parth. I don't know. Some people are delusional. And people still watch that bullshit. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I liken it to the televangelists. You know what I mean? They just got a bunch of blind followers. Televangelism is the way I look at it. You know what I mean? All glitz, glam, no substance. Trey Myers Way. Am I saying that right? Trey? Waegh. Myers Way. Are we going to see alternate jerseys versus Notre Dame? I don't know. Mark Reed says, Yoder, gotta watch. It's like a car wreck. And I think he banks on that. I think that he's a gimmick. He's a character. I don't even know if he believes the stuff that he says. Terry Walton says, Urban Meyer's a straight savage. Are you saying that in a good way, Terry? Right, the kids are saying savage is cool, right? That's a good thing. Curtis Peterson says, haven't heard much about Aubrey Solomon. Any insight? Aubrey will play. I think Aubrey's going to start defensive line. I think it's going to be Aubrey and Michael Dwumfour in the middle, and Chase and Rashawn on the ends. And again, guys, there was an interview on my YouTube channel with Michael Dwumfour, so check that out. Micah Bergstaller says, I think being a Michigan fan has taken some years off my lifespan. Hey, I think that goes for anything. If you love something and you have there's ups and downs on it, it's gonna age you for sure. So, Michigan football can just be a metaphor for life, right, Micah? The ups and the downs. We're getting really, like I said earlier, it's the Poetic Friday. Mark Reed inspired this today. We did some spoken word, a little bit of beatnik. My impression is trying to be like what I think Mark would be like in some little beatnik club talking about Shea Patterson. Mark, did you enjoy that impression? I just want to know. Any drama on the special teams? Who do you see as our punter? Brad Robbins. Mark Reed said he did. All right, great. Glad I could provide a little entertainment. Well, guys, it's going on noon. Right now, we're on 54 minutes. Really good live turnout, especially lately. And the schedule will go back to normal, I think, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Next week, Monday press conference, so I'll have a live stream around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. Wednesday night availability, so I think I'll either have a live stream probably Thursday morning, and then we'll have one Friday. Probably have game reaction after Notre Dame. I'll be in South Bend, so I'll do live stream from there. There'll be video, written content. If you guys have followed me for a little while, you know what to expect. If you're new to this, there'll be columns, there'll be feature stories, there will be player interviews on the YouTube channel, and a live stream podcast. Ryan Schuling's going to be down there with me as well. So and I got to ride with him. I got to listen to him the whole way, telling me, I told you, Shea, what competition? Ryan, if you're watching, this is you. What competition? What competition? I got to ride with this guy the whole way there and hear it. So I can't wait. Cannot wait. Stormy D says, hi, Adam. Hello, Stormy. Lebo Lax 01. It's happy hour out here in Germany. Love getting Wolverines talk with beer. You're watching from Germany? All right, we're going to extend it for Lebo Lax 01. I appreciate it. What are you doing in Germany? Are you military? Or are you just living out there? Let us know. Thanks for watching. We have an international... What? Micah Bergstaller watching from South Africa. Are you serious? Really? We have an international audience. Lebolex01 says, living out here coaching lacrosse. Really? Is it enlighten me a little bit. I'm not really up on lacrosse. Is it a pro league? I mean, I know what lacrosse is, obviously, but tell us a little bit about that. Terry Walton says he does not care about anything but winning. He didn't acknowledge Miss Smith at all. Urban is a different kind of dude. I don't want him fired, though. He's not getting out of here that easy. Okay, Terry Walton, that's what you meant by savage. Yeah, the Urban might. Yeah, he's a savage. And again, his psych major, he's been described as incredibly manipulative. I mean, the facts say enough, I mean, I have my personal opinion. Do I think Urban Meyer's a good person? Not based on what I've heard. I don't know him personally. Stormy D says, I'm a big fan of you. Thank you, Stormy. I appreciate it. Lebelax01 says, it's amateur out here, similar to NCAA D2 or D3, but with young adults. Awesome. Tweet some pictures. At Adam Biggers81, at GL Divide. CS says, Ben Mason, best interview on team, no doubt. With exception to Chase Winovich. Only certain guys can come in on Big Ten Media Day and ask if this is the karaoke section. That's Chase Winovich. He did that. The video's on my channel. I give it to Chase. Ben? Yeah, certainly. Chungad Wu says, hello. Cody Voyle says, I think Harbaugh needs to be judge and jury and executioner for Urban career by beating him until he has another heart attack. Cody. Tell us how you really feel, Cody. Terry Walton said Ben Mason is a dude. Yeah, he's a dude, and he might play defense, linebacker at some point. He's a dude. The big brother said, I'm from Shelby Township, Michigan. Karan Higdon is my neighbor. Is he really? Karan's dad? Because I think the Higdon family now lives here. Simple Carl says, I'm from Flint as well. I moved to Omaha 3 years back. I can't wait to play the Huskers this year. All they talk about is the last time they beat the Wolverines. Yeah, and what was it, shared 97 national championship. You got former star quarterback Scott Frost. It's very like a Harbaugh-esque homecoming at Nebraska, I think. Similar expectations. And, I mean, Scott Frost played for Tom Osborne. I mean, you're looking at, Harbaugh played for Bo. Historic programs. I mean, Nebraska's got a lot of hopes and dreams. We talk about hopes, Michigan fans pinning hopes and dreams, not only Jim Harbaugh, but Shea Patterson. But I mean, Scott Frost as a coach has these really high expectations on him too. And I know Nebraska fans are waiting with bated breath for their football program to get back to where it was. When I was in high school, Nebraska was like one of the it programs. Nebraska was like what Alabama, just a powerhouse year in, year out. I remember those Nebraska-Colorado games were really good. This was like when Nebraska was in the Big 8. Sean DeBoer says, Newsom was a great interview if he still counts smart kid. What is that? Angelica Cambo says, Higdon's cousin works for my husband in the Navy. Good family. Awesome. The big brother says, yeah, his brother Kavan played for Utica High School. Yep, that's right. CS says Devin Bush did not have a lot of success against power running teams, but Mason, Mike, Devin Bush will be linebacker. Simple Carl says, is Shea running all shotgun? No, not all shotgun. It's still going to be a pro style offense. Any other questions, guys? And again, thanks. It's, watching from Germany and South Africa. Who was that from? Hold on. Who was that from South Africa? I'm scrolling back up there. Micah Bergstaller and Libolax01 is watching from Germany. Angelica Campos says, does Gentry pass McCune on the depth chart? I think that, Angelica, I think that might be a situation kind of like with a running back where it's 1-1. Is there a number one tight end? I don't know. The situation's going to call for it. I think that's what'll be the determining factor. And I mean, they're probably going to run 2 tight end sets too. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. So I think that Gentry is probably going to be the bigger play guy. I think McCune is probably going to be the move the chains guy. And not saying that moving the chains won't be big plays, but I envision Gentry the jump ball in the end zone. I envision Gentry up the seam like we saw last year. McCune, I envision McCune on maybe like a little slant with Patterson rolling out, and that's, you know, kind of hit him in the flat, that kind of thing. Or not in the flat, but on the slant, rather. Cody Voyle says, how do you take it when that guy from Chat Sports talk crap on you while you're stealing stories and making educated guesses? Why doesn't Michigan speak out against this story? And I don't even mean to mention them, but you guys mentioned it, and it's been brought to my attention. I mean, I've known kind of the whole MO of this guy, and again, I've talked to him before. I thought that he seemed like a decent guy. I tried to let him know that, you know, what he was doing was kind of bull, and didn't have a problem with him. But then I guess he started saying things again, and all I could say is I'm just going to keep doing what I do, so I don't have to like pretend or put up a, you know, what is it, the chroma key background at Michigan. And I mean, I do believe he's probably violating a lot of like trademark and likeness and stuff like that. So, and I have heard, you know, there's kind of circulating on the thread that some action might be taken against him. So how do I feel? I mean, I feel bad for the people who believe it. I laugh at it because, and he's got a huge audience too. So, I mean, I laugh at it because it's a lot of people who are just being fooled. And like I've mentioned this before, if you're not getting it from Angelique from the Detroit News, or Aaron at MLive, or Nick at the Free Press, or Josh at 24/7 Michigan Insider, or Sam Webb, or, you know, Isaiah Hole, Isaiah's tuned in, Wolverine Wire, Kyle Rowland at the Toledo Blade, Chris Ballas and John Borton at the Wolverine. If you're not getting it from people like that, then I question it, because those are all the other people that are there. And, you know, Matt Pargoff, Mason Blue News, you know, Matt does a good job. All the people that are there all the time, those are the people I think that you should follow, and that's the information that you should trust. All these other stuff, he's capitalizing on a huge name in Michigan football and getting a bunch of clicks on clickbait stuff, and then no accountability because the guy doesn't ever show his face. He will never get a credential, and I know he goes to Michigan games as a fan, but he'll never get a media credential, and it's very easy, you know, to say all this stuff and you don't have any accountability for what you say or you write, because you're never going to be face to face, you know. And that's what I don't have, and not to say I don't have a lot of respect for people in general who do that. The internet makes it so easy, you know. Joe Blow, me for instance, you know, if I didn't cover Michigan football and I just wanted to have a podcast and I could come on or a live stream and just sit here and say, you know what, this guy sucks. This coach is a total this coach is a total moron. These guys don't know how to play football, blah, 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 and just, you know, blowing hot air. Yet I don't go to a press conference. I don't talk to the players. and I sure as hell would never say any of that to their face. So I can't respect that. That's my soapbox, guys. Oh yeah, and don't forget Mike Spath. Yeah, Michael Spath, friend of mine. Michael does a great job as well. Zach Shaw. You guys know if you follow and you really know Michigan and you really know who's there doing the reporting, and I'm sure I forgot other people, but I tried to. Yes, definitely Michael Spath. Zach Shaw, Isaiah Hole, Josh Henschke, Sam Webb, Josh Newkirk does a good job with recruiting stuff. He works with the Michigan Insider. Tom Van Haren, ESPN. I saw Tom. He was there last night. A lot of great recruiting information. But the beat writers, the ones that are, like I said, they're there on a Friday night availability. Angelique, Nick, Aaron, myself, Kyle Rowland, the Wolverine. Michigan Insider. The Michigan Daily. Orion saying. Michigan Daily needs freelancer for the Detroit Free Press. Those people, the people that are there asking questions every day, those are the people that you should follow, and those are the people that you should trust when it comes to what you read and what you hear about Michigan football. Michigan football, the vlog says, okay, sorry, didn't know you had YouTube channel as well. So now I understand. I know, shout out. Brexit, keep it going, go. What in the hell is that? I have no clue what you just said, Michigan football, the vlog. That was quite possibly the most incoherent comment ever made in the live chat. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a read this and tell me what you said, because I don't know. Nice emojis, though. Simple Carl today. Exactly. The pyramid scheme, televangelism, all that kind of stuff. All right, guys. Any more questions? We're rolling on an hour. This is the second longest live stream. I think we went like an hour and 20 minutes one time. Mike Valenti annoys me as well, says Micah Bergstaller. Mike makes great points. He is a Michigan State fan, but I think Mike can be fair. I think he could be overly critical. But again, I think in his line of work, it's more about discussion. I don't want to say it's entertainment, because I do think, he's very knowledgeable when it comes, but I do think it leans more on the entertainment discussion side rather than the hardcore journalism side. Although that he does cite. I think Mike Valenti is a good mix, and I think that's a sign of a good sports talk radio guy. Either you love him or respect him at least, or you absolutely hate his guts. And I think people that absolutely hate his guts, it's because he's a Spartans fan. But other than that, I think Mike Valenti does pretty good work. I enjoy it. I like when he goes off. I'm not going to lie. I like when he goes off. And that's the entertainment factor. Cody Boyle says, with so many similarities between this upcoming season and the 1997 season, it kind of feels like fate for Michigan to come out and conquer the schedule and finish on top. 1996, 8-5, lost an Outback Bowl. Cody's getting historical here. I like it. You get points. Thumbs up for the stat dig, Cody. Robert Protzman says, I missed it. When's the next one? Don't want to miss it. Monday. Maybe I'll do one like Sunday, but definitely Monday after Jim Harbaugh's first official press conference of the 2018 season. So previewing Notre Dame, we'll get into that as well. So Steve Dace is good. It says Angelica Campbell. I haven't heard Steve before. Simple Carl says, will there be another Shea interview? I think we'll get Shea one more time before the Notre Dame game. Yes. Mark Reed says, have a good day, bro. Thanks, man. Get used to this hour thing. Closest is sitting around with friends talking about Michigan football. Much appreciated. Realistic 12-0 season if everyone clicks together. No. Alan, you see that? I mean, this have to be the team of Michigan's all-time team to go run through the schedule unbeaten. You have 3 rivals on the road, Wisconsin and Penn State at home, at Northwestern. You're playing Nebraska as well. 12-0, I don't know. That is not realistic. Like, this would have to be the all-time Michigan team to do that. You'd have to be an all-time team at any school to go 12-0 through the schedule. I think 10-2 is a realistic ceiling if Shea Patterson is a star quarterback and this offensive line is improved. I think 10-2 is realistic. Worst case scenario is 8-4. What do I believe? Logically, I think 9-3 is more than fair. I think 9-3. That's where I sit with Michigan. I'll go 10-2 if Shea and the O line are what people are saying. Even if the O line isn't, if Shea Patterson is what a lot of people are expecting, and if he is Heisman worthy, we'll find out. But 10-2, I think is, and I think that's really fair for this schedule. I do. Doable. Mark Reed says absolutely doable. Maybe not realistic, but doable. We have the talent. Well, that's when you get into the debate of doable and realistic. Because a lot of our things is a certain thing doable. Does Michigan have pieces? I mean, yeah, you could say that, but I mean, realistic to go 12-0 with this schedule? No, that is not realistic in my mind. All right, guys, I'm running out of gas here. I got to eat some lunch. I'm going to go mow my lawn. Thanks to Jeremy Turner for inspiring me to do that. Jeremy, I need to see the photo of the lawn. He said that he crisscrossed the lines. I like that. That's a good pattern right there. So anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. And that's on Twitter and Facebook. GreatLakesDivide.com. We'll have iTunes up soon. And lots more big news on the way. Like I said, I'm really excited about that. So we'll announce that on Twitter when it's all finalized. And I don't know what else to say other than just keep following. More stuff coming up. I'll have some articles over the weekend. I'll have something on Cesar Ruiz and something on Michael Dwumfour this weekend. Watch those videos with Cesar Ruiz, Michael Dwumfour, Ben Mason, and Shea Patterson on my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. And guys, we're up to like 1,100 subscribers now. And it was at 887 because I did keep a tally before camp. So a huge increase. So I want to thank everybody who is new to the live stream and watching. And then, of course, I want to thank everybody who's been watching the live stream since last season. Some of you from the very first live stream. So I appreciate it. And again, thanks to the international viewers in Germany and South Africa. Appreciate that as well. So, again, follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Had fun today. It was a great chat. Talk to you guys next time.